The World of Champions Super Sport brings to you one of Africa's biggest club derbies, and it is the El Kopala Copperbelt Derby, and this one pits Nkana Football Club, who are taking on powerful Power Dynamos. And of course, early preparations here in terms of the fans that will be coming here so that they may have an opportunity to have a meal even as they go to support the various teams, in this case being Nkana Football Club or powerful Power Dynamos. So that is the World of Champions bringing to you Nkana Football Club, current log leaders of the Zambian Premier Soccer League, taking on a 5th place Power Dynamos. And tell you what, the town of Kicho has been divided by two halves, one being our yellow and the other one being our red, and of course separated by the Ndola Kicho Dio Carriageway. In terms of the weather forecast, it's maximum ago when these two sides met at this venue, and Nkana beats Power Dynamos by 1-0. Janice Akande scoring the only goal. Let's look at the two teams. First up, let's start with Nkana Football Club. They are the hosts, and of course they're coming from a loss. They lost by 3-1 to Buffaloes.
They did lose to Buffaloes, but Nkana have a lot of mental strength in them. They will be looking to pick up. Agri Chiengi is a coach who's been there before, and I think it's their first loss of the season, so they shouldn't be hard done by. The likes of Donashano Malama obviously will be pushing his lads and telling them we need to pick up. And like you mentioned, they picked up a victory last season when they played here. So if they have any chance of winning the title, players like Muntali, who was a former Power Dynamos player, will be telling them a few things about what Power is talking about in the dressing room. But Nkana will be psyched up for this game today.
I know it's different times, and this game has come probably too early, because if you look, number 1 versus number 5, I know there's pride at stake, and in such games sometimes you tend to see draws. Do you see that probably happening?
Well, there is a possibility of a draw, but unfortunately, I think today the mood is just right. The momentum is very perfect. The fans, the atmosphere, I expect the teams to come out with guns blazing. All
right, guns blazing is what is probably the fans will be expecting. The same can be said about you on the World of Champions. We had an opportunity to speak to the Nkana Football Club coach, Agri Chiengi. He's a former Power Dynamos coach, former Power Dynamos player. He shared his thoughts getting to this afternoon's match.
As usual, this is an interesting game, being a local derby, and it's one game that is going to be very aggressive. The only thing that I can say is that we've prepared well for this game, and we're looking forward to a positive result.
You lost 3-1 last weekend to Buffaloes. How easy has it been for you to prepare the team getting to this afternoon's match?
I think it hasn't been very difficult, because one thing is that our players are very open. They accepted that they didn't do well in Lusaka, so it was very easy to build them up for the game that is coming, which is today. So they are ready for today's game.
How many times did you train, seeing that you're playing against Power Dynamos in the derby during the week?
No, we trained normal. I think in a week you are supposed to do about 7 sessions of training, and that's what we did. We just trained the normal way that we do. The only thing is that the additional things are more to do with tactical, because you have to look at the team that you're playing against. Those are the only things that we added.
No more day at the office. It's a 4-4-2 formation that Power, rather Nkana, are lining up. And even as you look at the formation, Muka, your reactions to what Chiengi said?
Well, tactically is what will make the difference in this game. He's made 3 changes in terms of the lineup this afternoon, and obviously, more importantly, they've lost Scott in goal, so they're starting with Mwansa. That, for me, will unsettle them a little bit. But in terms of the team that is put out, it's a very decent side. We see a start, obviously, for Simon Walia, a couple of changes because Shadrick is not starting. So I think tactically he's made a couple of changes.
And of course, Scotting again, this is the second time he's missing out on the derby. Each time he does get the red cards. The same happened last season. Let's look at players that probably may change the complexion of the game, shall we? Because for starters, Christopher Muntali, there was so much talk. Remember that he was suspended, and that involved between Power Dynamos and Nkana.
Most certainly. I mean, I think the rivalry between these two teams is owing to the fact that they're so close. I mean, they're separated by the dual carriageway, the Kitu and Dola dual carriageway. But players tend to cross that road more often than not. Now, when Muntali moved from Power Dynamos to Nkana, the fans were not happy. And of course, you know, a couple of Power technical side were not happy as well. But he's here now, so he's playing for Nkana. He knows how the Power outfit sets out. He will be playing with a lot of heart to prove to his former employers that, you know, he's got a chip on his shoulder.
All right, Mr. Muntali, obviously the big player in this Nkana setup. Apart from him, is Joseph Musonda, also, who has played and scored in the derby. One of the longest serving players. He's been at Nkana since 2000, apart from playing professional football in South Africa. Apart from him, obviously, if we look at going forward, Walter Wale has been instrumental in terms of getting goals for them. He has not scored in the last 2 games or so, but he still remains an important player, an integral part of the Nkana setup.
Walter is very integral, but of course, Gilly is the man who makes a lot of differences. He always picks up when it comes to, you know, penalties. He creates that play. This player can play as a lone striker. He can play on the flanks. He's got the ability, obviously, to convert half chances into goals. And I think he just has the right mentality to get into this game and partner Simon Walia and Walter Walia. But he is most likely going to be the difference in this encounter.
All right, of course, the partnership together with Walter Walia so far scored 6 goals, thereby becoming the top scorer for this Nkana Football Club. A lot will be expected from him, and of course this is how it looks like. But Even as we talk about nkana, a few changes made in the team as well?
A couple of changes, obviously. I think tactically, Chiengi realizes that if he's going to beat this power tide, he has to play a different approach, probably flat the midfield more. But interesting enough, he's got three players that can all score goals. You've got Simon Walia, Walter Walia, and of course, Gilly Manziva. That's an indication of intent. He wants to win this game.
All right, we take a very short ad break. When we come back, we still continue building up. Remember, it is the El Copala Nkana Football Club versus Power Dynamos. Keep it here on the World of Champions. Welcome back to Nkana Stadium as we continue building up to the Copper Belt, or is it Kitwe Derby rather, between Kalampa and Nkana Football Club, who are taking on Powerful Power Dynamos. I'll tell you one thing, I have to scream because the noise is so deafening. The fans have come out in numbers to support their two teams. And you can see on the screen, those are the red, our Reds, the Nkana supporters obviously feeling positive that they will be probably able to get a result. And that's just part of the crowd outside still trying as much as possible to make their way into the Nkana Stadium. And they're the Yellow Faithfuls, a representation of Powerful Power Dynamos, Power 90, our Yellow they call themselves. So it's a big turnout in terms of attendance here at the Nkana Stadium. And again, Muka still with me on pitch side. Even as we look at the two teams, we did have an opportunity to look at Nkana Football Club. Let's turn our attention to Power Dynamos, shall we? Because Power on Wednesday drew scoreless. There was a change in terms of coaching personnel, and it's the first time that Anderson is in charge of Power Dynamos in terms of the derby.
Well, Anderson has been the man who's been leading them when it comes to training. So in terms of a mentality, tactical approach, or even support from the players, it won't be much. They're missing TC. He's since departed from the technical bench. But the Power Faithful have a lot of confidence in Anderson. And if you look at how they've been playing, and if you look at how they played on Wednesday, I think this Power side will give Nkana a lot of problems. A couple of changes that have come through, obviously, from their midweek encounter and the game they've put out today. I think this Power side has come here meaning business, and it's interesting, obviously, how he's lined out his players.
Of course, one of those players you've seen a few minutes ago, and that's the Power Dynamos left back Chungu Lawrence. He'll be coming up against his brother Macduff Chungu. That's an interesting one, even as we talk about this Kitwe derby.
Well, Kitwe always divides families, and of course, it has brothers supporting one half of Kitwe. It's either you're red or you're yellow, and of course, the atmosphere, like you mentioned, is really on point. So Kitwe has definitely come to a standstill today. It's the biggest derby in the league, one of the biggest derbies on the continent, and Power have always lived up to, obviously, the reputation of giving Nkana problems here. And this afternoon, the team is obviously looking set to really push Nkana Red Devils to the wire. The power side obviously not scoring in midweek, but he's decided to bring back Patson Daka to start this afternoon.
A couple of changes made in terms of starting personnel for both sides. But if you look at the log standing at the moment, who needs the win the most this afternoon? I know we're talking of pride here, but who needs it most?
Well, I would say Power need the win most because obviously they want to stay close to the top of the table. But a school of thought would argue that Nkana needs it most because Nkana have not obviously played well in the last couple of matches after losing to Buffaloes. So when it comes to derbies, it's all about pride. It's all about removing your heart and putting it on your sleeve and showing you want it more.
All right, in 1995, he scored a goal here in the defunct Mosi Cup, playing against Ramlex. Then he was playing from Freya Wanderers. Now he's the head coach for Power Dynamos. His name is Anderson P. Is he under any pressure getting to the derby this afternoon? Let's take a listen to him.
Yeah, it is one of the local derbies. I think that is very interesting in Zambian League.
All right, and then on Wednesday you drew scoreless against Zanaco. Any lessons learned coming to this afternoon's match?
Yes, we learned one or two things which I think we worked on Thursday, Friday after coming from Lusaka. I think we're okay today.
It's the first time you are as the head coach for Power Dynamos, you've been charged this afternoon. The last time you played against Nkana, you were an assistant coach. Are you under any pressure this afternoon?
Not at all, because this game is for players. It's not for me as a coach. I'm here to motivate the players. It's a local derby. These boys, they know each other, so they will play a bigger part than me today.
If you look at the head-to-head statistics between Power and Nkana at Nkana Stadium, Nkana has always not have it easy against you as Power Dynamos. Do you think that record will continue this afternoon?
History repeats itself.
Simply put, history, he feels, will repeat itself. 4-4-2 also like Nkana.
Well, it's obviously won a lot of clubs titles, a lot of nations titles as well. But today, I think history will be dependent on the players. I totally agree with him. It's about them. It's about individual brilliance. It's about your heart and just putting your neck out there. There are brothers playing against each other. There are players who played for previous teams. And in terms of our players who will look at in terms of an impact, Power have a lot of them.
Let's go with them because already you're talking about impact players. Let's start with who you feel might have a lot of influence in this team. It is a team sport, of course, 11 players, but there are obviously one or two players with exceptional qualities that they do bring to the team.
Talking about exceptional qualities, this man right here, Kelvin Kampamba Muwanga, he really terrorizes defenses, especially when he's playing on the flanks. He has that ability to obviously beat markers. The downside to him is that sometimes his delivery needs much to be desired, but of course he's one of those players who will be running this afternoon and he will be changing flanks. He has that ability obviously to also score an odd goal. So this afternoon he will be one to look out for.
And of course Kelvin Muwanga spent most part of last season on the treatment bed, but now he's back wearing the yellow jersey, representation of Power Dynamos. But also, we're talking of players that can change the game. And for me, another one that we can talk about is Ladiwa, the former K-Stars player.
Most certainly. I mean, we saw him play for K-Stars for a very long time. He had one thing about him that is brought, obviously, to his Power Dynamo side. He's a fox in the box. He's a player who can score from half chances. He has that ability, obviously, to convert half chances into goals. Nkana really need to be wary about him because you may just be sleeping on the job and he'll come through and wake you up. By the time you're looking at the score sheet, it's 2-0.
It's a derby, Muka. Let's talk about the first 15 minutes. What sort of approach will, for instance, Nkana start with? They're at home.
Well, they will be looking obviously to settle down. They will not be pressing hard. Both these teams will be a little bit relaxed, but I think it will come down to who wants it the most. Not so many mistakes are expected. The atmosphere is just perfect. The boys have been psyched up. It's all to play for this afternoon. I
know wherever you're watching us on the World of Champions, obviously there's a lot of debate. But let's look at Power also. I'll ask you the same question that I've asked regarding Nkana. What sort of approach do you think Power will employ in the first 15 minutes?
Well, Power need to really come out and show Nkana a declaration of intent. They need to come and push the ball hard, because if they allow the Nkana side to pass the ball and really move it into their final third, they will have problems this afternoon. So they need to really control the middle of the pack. They need to just, try to pass the balls, try to control play, because ultimately this game will be decided on very thin margins. It's going to be fine lines.
Whether it's by design or by default, Scott Ngokeni, the last two derbies between these two sides, he's missed them owing to the red cards that he does get before the games. look at the nkana setup. They've brought in the third and the fourth choice goalkeeper. Isn't that an area of concern, obviously?
It is an area of concern, and if you have the likes of Larry while you're obviously lacking Patson Daka, and on the bench you've got Fwayo Tembo and Luka as well waiting to come on. I think that's one of the biggest problems that Nkana have in terms of goal. But as a professional player, you're always told that once an opportunity is given to you, you really need to grab it with both hands. So if you look at the opportunity that has been given to the Nkana goalkeeper, he needs to come through, and he's got a decent line in front of him, very experienced defenders, so they are really looking to obviously just control him in that instance.
All right, it is expected that the Republican President, His Excellency Edgar Chagwalungu, be part of the spectators that will come and watch this game. So there's a lot of excitement here. But even as we wrap up on this build-up, I'll put you again on the chopping block. My favorite part of this conversation. Who's going to get it?
Well, to be honest, it all comes down to who puts their heart on the sleeve. It's going to be a very close one. I expect a result, but I will not come out and say which team it's going to be, because it's going to be a game of fine margins, really.
Oh, this man decided to sit on the edge of the fence, which I normally don't like, but that's part of the fans that have come through in numbers. I'll tell you one thing, Nkana Stadium is filled to capacity. Almost every space has been taken up. It is expected because it's a big one. You can see the excitement of the fans. One of the big games in terms of Zambian football. You can equate it to Al Ali versus Zamalek in the Egyptian Premier League, or Orlando Pirates versus Kaizer Chiefs. This is how big this game is. They've come out. The fans have come out in numbers. The red, a representation of Nkana, and of course, the yellow, a representation of Power Dynamos. I'll tell you one thing, for now, I'll commentary team of Mukamba Mwenda Jr. and Innocent Kalaluka lineup, because after this short ad break, it's the first half of Nkana versus Power Dynamos. Keep it here on the World of Champions.
It's a very good afternoon and welcome to the El Kopala. That's Nkana Football Club up against Power Dynamos out here in Lusaka on the Copper Belt. The biggest derby in the country without any question at all, and maximum temperatures at 32 degrees, so it is pretty hot, and you can actually see there from the screen that there is quite some humidity there at 52%. So yeah, so this game between color-wise yellow for Power Dynamos and red for Nkana Football Club will definitely offer up a very, very entertaining game. So the advice to you really is to just buckle up, because this game is going to be a very, very bumpy ride indeed. The stadium, Nkana Stadium, full to the rafters, every space taken. and we got a lot of fans that are actually just standing next to the wire fence to just have a view of this particular game. Even all the poles and whatever else can give you advantage around the stadium taken up, those there will stand for the entire 90 minutes. And like we're saying, every space taken, risking limbs, but doesn't really matter. It's all for your club here. As you can see, the fans there ever excited, gallons of water being carried because two fans are ready to shut up a storm in this particular encounter. Really, it's the equivalent of the Orlando Pirates game, Orlando Pirates Kaizer Chiefs, or Ali Zamalek. And if it's in Europe, we're talking about, you're looking at Madrid up against Barcelona, for instance, Liverpool, Manchester United. It's really huge game in Zambia, and one of the hugest games, biggest games on the African continent as well. So the two sides will not want to lose this bragging rights at stake. And Kitwe Town, Nkana in the red and white on your right. And of course, Power Dynamos are yellow, and all yellow here. The bragging rights currently lying with Power Dynamos. They won their the last game in August last season, 2-1 at Arthur Davis Stadium. Here at Nkana, this time of the month, it was actually 1-0 Nkana winning at home. So that's really what you expect here. It's got to be as big as it gets. So form-wise, Nkana Football Club definitely the better of the sides on paper. The topping the charts here, the topping the table. That position 1, Power Dynamos 5, 19 points for Nkana and 14 for Power Dynamos. But of course, all form goes out the window in this particular encounter, because then it's really about just the talk that will be in town, because there's these two sides, these two towns, just simply divided by the dual carriageway. Other than that, you might want to say it's one and the same. Players also zigzagging from one to the other. So call it the calm before the storm, as the two sides just shake hands. And also, just to show you the importance of this particular game, the Republican President, His Excellency, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, is going to be in attendance, and that is the motorcade just arriving at Nkana Stadium. So, need I say more? Couple of games in the past between the two sides, the last 14 games, for instance, Nkana has only managed to win 4 though, and Power won 6. So they will feel that statistic-wise they are the better side, and Power Dynamos will feel that they are the ones that ordinarily should be winning. Not always the case in the game of soccer. Nkana, though, lining up this way without their first choice goalkeeper, Frederick Mansa. That's a major change there. Scott Nkana got himself carded in the game against Buffaloes. But Christopher Muntale, source of a lot of talk before the season, was banned for 3 months because of signing on 2 of these clubs without, rightfully doing that. Shimba Chungu, the flanks, of course, Joseph Musonda Muntale, a lot of experience there. Danashano Malama, very key to them. Gulume will bring in the youth, whereas Walter Walia is on 7 goals. He is the man for the goals. Simon Waller, that's him start here ahead of Shadrach Sonda, who normally will start, but that's the way it goes here. And that there is Power Dynamo's side. Also, Alan Chibwe now is the man between the goals, ahead of Joshua Titima in the last couple of games. But you have Lawrence Chungu, so it's going to be a brother up against brother, because Lawrence Chungu is the younger of the Chungus. Macduff Chungu is out for the Nkana side. So then the formation of the way they will be standing off is always the 4-4-2. It seems both sides, more you think, would cancel each other out a lot, because Sakala, Walia, Mwanga and Mudenda will be in the middle of the 4, and up front is Daka and Martin Pirium. And of course, Daka is with the national team, called up for the national team, and he will obviously not need to just make sure that fans are happy with that occasion. There are 2 captains. Kasonde, very, very experienced former Zambia national team player, and the way he's playing right now, wouldn't be surprised if at all he's eventually called, if at all he keeps up his performance. One player who is with the national team is Danashano Malama, jersey number 6 in that lineup. Agri Chienge has had a marvelous start to the season, topping the Zambian league. But had a bit of a blip when they lost to the Green Buffaloes by 3-1 emphatic beating there. But they won't want that to happen again. So you can see this. I don't think the coaches had really a lot to say about this particular game where pushing is concerned. Anderson Perry is the man who has taken over from TC. He was his assistant, but now he's the man in charge. Kennedy Mudenda has since found form and is in the starting lineup all the time. Janice Ikazwe, FIFA referee, is the man between on the center of the pitch, and rightfully so. We kick off here at Nkana Stadium. It's the El Kopala Nkana Football Club up against Power Dynamos. Power in the yellow. Kelvin Mubanga, former Nkana player, in position right now, tries to go past Chungu. In fact, it was maybe Chishimba who just pushed the ball out so quickly. Taken here. They're already in the 18. Kelvin Mubanga there trying to turn Martin Piri rather, but he's dispossessed. Joseph Msonda hits it to his own player. And now they're going quickly here in Nkana with Fred Chimenge. And it's a cross comes from Walter. Goalkeeper fails to get contact. Opportunity already here. You push it wide. Good tackle there from Magdav Chungu. So, as expected, the game is on fire here, Mukamwenda.
Most certainly, and Freddie Chimenge noticed the gap in the sleeping defense of that Power Dynamos outfit. He runs and he just puts it in the pocket, where of course he's looking for a running, piercing, so to say, from Simon Walia and of course Gilly Manziba, but it didn't come through.
Corner comes and it bubbles up and it's cleared eventually, only just to take it wide in Nkana, but it's a bit too much. It goes out for a throw in. So Power maybe will breathe again here because just a minute gone and there was a lot of pressure coming from the home side.
A lot of pressure indeed, and when that corner kick was taken, Power settled a little bit. They will be looking to probably just string some passes and try to push the ball forward.
Chungu does a good job there, easy on the ball. Pushes forward, Muntali makes a pass. And they take it wide. Walter Wale opportunity, was just looking for the tap, but looks like he was offside.
Most certainly, Walter was offside, but it's interesting how Agre Chiengi has set up this Nkana outfit, deciding to put out all his S's obviously out, because you've got Gilly Manziba, Simon Walia and Walter Walia. Those three on any given day can be starting players for any team in the league.
Well, looks like there was a foul there by Martin Piri. Doesn't seem to understand what could have happened. But the town of Kitwe has definitely come to a standstill, if not the rest of Zambia, because rest assured they're glued on this particular game now. Good header there, but it was on-rushing Freddy Chimenge, but Chungu does a good job now. Kennedy Mudenda now. They like to call him the disc man, but he's dispossessed, and now coming forward with Chungu. Cross comes in, Walter almost going for the overhead, but Francis Kasonde, good positioning as they clear Power now, but only just again Joseph Msonda back to sender. And that 18 again is Walter, making a nuisance of himself, and they take the ball out for a throw-in.
For first corner kick going to Nkana, they're really putting a lot of pressure, especially on the flanks with, of course, Walter Walia and Chimenga Freddy there. So it will be the first corner, and they tend to make a nuisance of themselves from corner positions.
Spread wide and nicely done here for Power. Nkana, they cross it. Muntali, but the ball going out. No, it is still in, and eventually does go out for a throw in. So Christopher Muntali has expected his cue to go forward whenever Nkana will have those corners or very close to corner throw-ins.
Him and Donashano Malama obviously do have that towering possession. When they go into the final third, they tend to obviously control play from the aerial dominance. Martin
Piri. Tackle by Joseph Msonda, well timed here. And it goes out for a throw-in. So Martin Piri will know that he has Joseph Msonda by his side.
Joseph lacks obviously in pace, but has a lot of experience, and he gets the ball first and the man second. Hence the yellow card doesn't come through from Janice Kazwe.
Kennedy Mudenda now. Wide to Kelvin Mubanga, dropped into the middle. And the push forward with Govenda Simwala. Looks for the 1-2, gets it, and is now about to bring in the cross. He beats his marker, but it's fouled in the process by Fred Chimenge, who has trekked down to help out with on Mabin Chishimba's position.
Govenda Simwala will be obviously pushing the flanks, looking to provide play for Patson Daka and Martin Piri. And this is definitely going to be a very explosive game. Power Dynamo supporters, they're expecting something from this one.
Just about a cross is supposed to come here now. And Govenda Simola is about to take this. We've got two-man war in Nkana Football Club. Cross comes in, heads go up, but it's actually Musonda who cleared. Larry Wale with the left, just wide. They need to cover him. He's got such a left foot.
Deadly Love put great contact with the ball. He looked for precision and placement, but unfortunately was always drifting away. It's headed out, obviously, by Joseph Musonda. Larry Wire hits it inch perfect, and the goalkeeper didn't know what was coming his way. Frederick Mwanza, that ball was always going into the corner, but unfortunately it just went wide.
Well then, what a chance that Larry Wale holding his head. He knew how close that was, and he just needs that kind of sniff now. Power again will clear their lines. But they take it out in Nkana now. Power again will throw. Larry Wale was playing deep, and he leaves it for Lawrence Chungu to take. Quickly takes it now. Martin Piru. Little 1-2, Kennedy Mudenda now in possession. Martin has gone down, holding onto his foot. Something, I think he was stepped on when he was making that cross, but it's Chungu. And the referee, well, allows for play to go on. Chungu turns well. Chimenga Sanga Balete, Chungu on the flank. Again, just going, and is not being marked finally. Nice tackle there. The referee blows, but he claims to have taken the ball.
He definitely got the ball from where his sort of pattern is, but unfortunately, the referee realizes that he got a little bit of the man. Brilliant play from Lawrence Chungu.
But that was brother on brother, though, it should be said.
Most certainly, McDuff Chungu and Lawrence Chungu there.
Muntali clears. Chungu now the younger of the two, but Power now with Kennedy Mudenda. He's looking for a pass here. He makes it, but a bit too much, and they failed to stop it with Govenda Smaller. Power fired up for this one.
Govenda was always second best in that pass. I think it had a little bit of power on it. Well, Power will be looking to obviously utilize their flanks.
Pushed by Francis Kasonde on Water while a foul to Power Dynamos. It's just about 16 minutes gone, but literally a lot of action already.
Well, this is the man who's expecting to be giving problems to the Power defense, and of course the likes of Francis Kasonde will have to really pay attention, and in that instance they did obviously do so, but it was a deemed an infringement.
Joseph Musonda to take this, chips it in there, looking for again Muntali, but again it's badly done.
Nkana have been very wasteful with set plays. Muntali is obviously running towards the end. It's probably something they've practiced in training, but I think they can do better.
So Martin Daka and Joseph Musonda in your picture earlier on, that duo will be happening a whole lot. Now, Jacob Ngulube, Guli Maziba. Very difficult man, and it's brought down though. Referee plays advantage still because it's Power now in position. Benson Sakala. Kelvin Muvanga, that tackle there though, but it's allowed, and it's Kennedy Mudenda. Wide now to Chungu, brings in the cross, bumps it forward, literally goalkeeper though, safe hands of Derek Mwanza. The change in goalkeepers, though, Scott Nkana got himself carded in the last game against Buffaloes. So that change though, could it be worrisome for them?
It should be worrisome for them. He's the third choice goalkeeper, obviously, Mwanza there, and he needs to just pay attention. He'll be hoping to get cover from his defense. Talking about defense, they need to pay attention in this particular instance.
Just about going in, the goalkeeper makes a save. Bubbles up a bit, but eventually he does get it. And that was really, really close there from Jacob Ngulube, very smart about it. Walter Wale brought in the cross. Ngulube's deft touch. Goalkeeper recovered very, very well there and made that save by Alan Chiwe. They make a cross, but it goes out. So throw in, so Power Dynamo surviving there. Walter again. Francis Kasonde does a good job. Larry Waller, one touch. Kelvin Muvanga. Martin Piri now under pressure. Joseph Musonda wins it again.
He's dropping too deep, Martin Piri. He needs to be slightly up further because he needs to be in that pocket.
Takes the ball back, and again, Jacob Ngulube. Nice to see him on point today. Can be a collector's item easily on certain days. But today, the last couple of games we've watched him has not really been on top. But today, I think he's equally fired up for this. Christopher Muntali now, in his own half, he pushes it forward. Simon Walia brings it down. Simoala again wide. Francis Kasonde back to his goalkeeper. Obviously cannot touch that, and it's being closed down by Walter Walia. Goes out for a throw in. Quickly taken now. Easy on the ball there from Mabin Chishimba. Take it wide, and Guli Maziba again in possession. Kennedy Mdenda back tracking to help out his defense.
It's only been 10 minutes played, but both teams are all over the place because I'm not seeing the tactics. They need to calm down and settle down and probably just exchange play.
Yeah, you wonder at times about tactics, whether they even observe them. They really don't want to lose this, do they now?
But the atmosphere is just perfect. And of course, like you mentioned, the Republican president is here. All the fans are out here. You've got brother versus brother. It's really the biggest derby in the country.
Now it's an opportunity though for Nkana again to just throw that one into that 18 area. And Christopher Muntali, as always, the tallest player on this Nkana side, is up there already. Oh, they leave it for Danashano Malaman. They shoot from there, but it was being closed down though very quickly by Benson Sakala. Joseph Msonda slips a bit but recovers. Larry Waller brings the ball down. Jacob Mulenga in the middle now fighting for that. Jacob Ngulube rather fighting for that. Larry Waller again to Benson. Wide, it's Kennedy Mdenda. And Kennedy again to Patson Daka. And makes a mistake. Ngulube, one touch. Kind of playing well. Maziba has come on this flank now. So it means they've exchanged. Or not, it's still actually Chimenge to Maziba on that end there, but it's a bit too much and it goes out for a throw-in to Power Dynamos.
Fast-paced game, obviously it might lead into some mistakes. Then really need to relax both teams here because we're not seeing anything in terms of combinational play to take it in front and see something. But hey, it's obviously very good for the neutral player, neutral fan, because as far as they're concerned, this is the action that they want to see.
End-to-end stuff, this surely. But it goes straight to the goalkeeper. Frederick Mwansa to his defender, Joseph Musonda, has seen a lot of such huge games. Remember, played literally all the games in the AFCON, but for that injury against Ivory Coast that saw him out, he was in tears as he was being substituted for, I think it was Nyambe Mulenga who came in for him.
I mean, when you're playing games like that, it's like a cup game, you really need to wear your heart on your sleeve. It's about heart. And this is what derbies are about as well, a lot of heart. Every time Gili Manziba gets the ball, you can hear the crowd going like, Gili, Gili. So he just lost concentration there, unfortunately, for him. But cometh the hour, cometh the man. We'll wait to see who will stand up for both teams.
Chungut with that throw there, but Simon Walia, BZP in the middle there. Benson Sakala, considered by many to be one of the most promising holding defenders for the country. Oh, goalkeeper comes out there, Frederick Mwansa, and heads the ball away under pressure there. His defense was nowhere to be seen.
His defense has a lot of things about them, but they really lack in pace. So he really needed to react there, and he came out a little bit dangerous because if that ball was just put on top of him by Kennedy Mudenda, I would have been talking about something else.
So, really can't tell which team is on top here because it's under pressure here. Shoots. What a blockade from Joseph Musonda. And the youngster there was just pulling the trigger. Patson Daka.
Patson Daka had an opportunity, should have probably hit it on a snapshot, but he hesitated a little bit, hence the cover from Joseph Msonda. This is about heart. You need to put everything in it.
Joseph Msonda there. Very good timing and right in that 18 area, but went for the ball and made that clearance. Huge encounter this. Just about 15 minutes gone in this first half here. It's the El Kopala Nkana up against Power Dynamos. The local derby like no other here as Nkana come forward. Walter Ball has dropped deep. He crosses into that 18 area, heads goal. But they will clear their lines. Larry Walia. Little touch there. Looks for the 1-2 pass on Daka. Gets it now. Kelvin Mubanga is playing deeper. And he's got Jacob Ngulube for company. Kennedy Mdenda back to Chungu. To Kasonde. Looking to just play it forward, but the goalkeeper there, Frederick Mwansa, has shown that he's very alive to any ball that's hovering around his 18 area.
I mean, if you're playing second fiddle to anybody, when you're given a chance, you really need to stand up and be counted. So here's an opportunity for him because Nkana are not using their normal goalkeepers.
Cross comes and it's blocked again.
Kenneth Ndenda being a nuisance obviously this afternoon, really coming out and showing that he has to really push. But the spirits are very good in this game.
Okay, again it was Joseph Musonda who actually cleared that one. It's going to be a throw in here. And it's seemingly going to be a very long one this, and it comes in that 18 area. Goalkeeper comes on, easily collects there, Frederick Mwansa. Otabwalia there under pressure, but it's claiming to have been pushed. Let's try to talk to the referee, Yanis Sikazwe, and Sikazwe will have none of that. So Alan Chibwe there just gets rid of that one. He's now playing ahead of Joshua Titima. What does that say about Alan Chibwe's form?
Well, like they say, men and women lie, numbers don't.
Otabwale dropping deep. Wide again, pushing going on. Sandwiched, he goes down and it's a foul definitely there.
Kilimanziwa, very physical, very pacey, and he has a lot of heart. If you see him, you would not think he has that pace with him.
So then the foul there from Power, just sandwiching that man, Kilimanziwa, who has really been terrorizing the last couple of games, and I think he equally is fired up for this one. One of the international players for Nkana Football Club. Now looks like it's Chongo's going to bring that cross. Pensive looking, maybe in Chishimba actually on the ball. So this one goes into the back of the net. Here the roof coming down, heads go, but it goes high. It was actually Benson Sakala who just cleared that one for a corner.
Great communication obviously between Sakala and his goalkeeper Alan Chiwe, because Alan was shouting, but Benson realized that I'm not going to leave it up to chance. An opportunity for a corner. McDuff to take again.
McDuff with the corner, it comes in, swinger here. Muntali just needed to put his head on that.
His positioning was not very perfect. He needed to move from the back, moving into the center. He was moving diagonally, so it didn't really helping much. This former Power Dynamos player, Muntali, and of course Power who start with their goalkeeper, Alan Chiwe.
Muntali, how would love to score against his former side. For more reasons than one, not just to win this derby, but just to show them that the reason I moved is because this year is the better side. Speaking of better side, during the week there was an interview on ZNBC where Luka Lungu was being talked to about this particular derby, and he says Luka Lungu is on the bench for Power. He says, well, most of these nkana players playing for Power would probably be on the bench. An opportunity goes high, just about misses it there. Goalkeeper came out and just disturbed Waterboy on that occasion.
He's currently on 6, looking for number 7. Waterboy realizes that he can beat the back line of Lawrence Chungu and, of course, White Mwanawamba. He beats that speed trap and of course, that line, and it just goes through. Really, it's in his favor, but unfortunately, it was always going up.
Well then, anguish there. He knows he could have made the difference, and what a time it would have been also, just about the 20th minute. Larry Wally. Good turn, but then there's a foul again. So Power will have the advantage here. I'm just talking about Muntali being banned for 3 months. How we would love to get one on them.
Well, these cases will always be there. Anderson obviously explaining to his team that they should change their tactics. I think this game is too highly paced for tactics right now. It all comes down to individual brilliance and just picking your moments, picking the right pass, and of course picking the pockets, so to say.
Looking for Kelvin Muvanga, but a bit too much, and it goes out. White. White Simmons are there, being told to just have some space in between. The defender Francis Kasonda and White are more or less standing in one line, and that means you can't be beaten by one move, really. I think that's what the coach is emphasizing there. Anderson Piri was being assisted by Alex Namazaba. It's a foul, so it's a free kick again to Nkana. Joseph Musonda just inside the 18 area, but a bit too much from Muzo on that occasion, so it goes out.
Nkana really need to maximize on the dead ball positions. They've had opportunity to just put it in the box. They really need to keep it simple. I think they're trying too much, trying too hard. They really need to work at their strengths and just try to pick up a goal.
Kelvin Muvanga again, they're really not using his pace on the flanks at times here, you feel.
Most certainly, and the combination of play between him and Patrick Piri should really come to a fruition. But they're giving him a lot of searching balls, putting it in the air.
Walter is at a high boot there on Govenda. It's a throw in, it's a foul actually here of Walter. That 18, but again, very little conviction though, even as he was taking that one. The Nashana Malama under pressure there. Benson Sakala, very hard net to crack that. As Joseph Musonda clears it, and Francis Kasonda equally good here. Good chest control. Martin Piri, Kelvin Mwanga now, chips it. The Nashana Malama does the business for his side. It's a throw in.
Leading from the front as the captain, he needs to clear those dangerous balls.
Larry Waller to Simoala Govenda, being pulled down by Chishimba. It's a foul, and the first yellow.
Janis Kwaze has been holding back for a while now. He decides to put out his first yellow, and of course it will be given to Meben Chishimba.
Now Kelvin Mubanga Kampamba to take this. Chips it nicely. Goalkeeper comes and collects. Wow, he was looking to score there.
He was going for goal. He should have put a little bit more pace on that one and some power. and maybe he would have been saying it was the first goal.
As he brought down by Kasonde. Kasonde uses both feet actually, so his I think he makes a very good central defender, because whichever way the ball lands, he will be able to control it. But now he needs to organize that defense of his, as Nkana is coming forward now with Shimba. Jacob Ngulubi has been instrumental. Nice pass there. Kasonde saves, and the fans are calling for a penalty. Simwala clears. Oh, big question that, but big call from Yanis Kazwe. As Power again go forward. Kennedy Mudenda now will collect. What a moment that though from Francis Kasonde. Larry Vuela chips into that 18. And again Joseph Musonda for the up 10th time just clears that one.
This was the earlier incidents where the pace was just inch perfect. That pass coming from Jacob Ngulube and being chased down by Freddy Shimenga. It was an incident of a little bit of ball to hand, so, you know, not so much intention. Janis Kaze deciding to allow play.
They allowed Benson Sakala to... it was actually Martin Peary there who just came and shot. But that incident there, I think it did hit the hand, but I think referee very right. Where was his hand supposed to be in the tackle? So really, it was a question of ball to hand. Comes into 18, Walter headed backwards, and goalkeeper came out though to head to punch that one, but not too far. Joseph Musonda now buccaneering forward, makes a pass. Little 1-2, but it's cleared in the end. So it's pressure on both ends. And no team has really taken control of this game between the two sides.
Most certainly, but two players who are notably not in the game for me so far. Simon Wadi, I've not seen a lot of him for Nkana, and of course Patson Daka. He really needs to have a lot of combination of play with Martin Peary.
Both did go out, and I think we have seen very little of Simon Wadi, very, very right. Equally Patson Daka, maybe involved in little 1-2s, but not enough. As Chungu pushes forward, pass on Daka, now maybe we'll see him, but the goalkeeper comes out. He's very tall, that Nkana goalkeeper Frederick Mwansa, and looks the part so far.
It's very, uses a lot of impulse and reaction, and you need that obviously as a goalkeeper. He can sense danger easily. 2 occasions now he's come out of the box. I think that's decent.
Little pass from Jacob Ngulube. I think so far little nice deft touches from the young midfielder. Long throw in, Donashano Malama will take this. Rest assured to be right in that 18 area. Bit too high, but the goalkeeper comes out and takes charge there, Alan Chibwe. Larry Walia drifted to the far left here, and he's got Mudenda up front, and he looks for him and he gets him, only he's in an offside position.
They're playing a very high line and obviously looking to cut the likes of Kennedy Mudenda offside. It was very close. I think Muntali must have been playing him onside as the ball was played. But then the linesman was obviously looking at his position at that moment. Kennedy Mudenda is not having a lot of daylight on the left flank. He should probably move to this side and swap with, Convenda Simwala maybe.
So happening in the midfield though, Larry Walia now chips it forward and is looking for Kennedy Mudenda, this time onside, and he has beaten his marker for pace. Now can he go past him though? He uses Chungu, who brings in the cross. Eventually cleared back. That was close. Very, very close there, but good clearance there from Mabin Chishimba.
He's in the thick of things, Mabin Chishimba. That contact there ensured that he didn't go to the back and maybe just give an opportunity to Power. He got a yellow in the 23rd. He's really playing with heart. Just what you expect from a derby.
Throw in from Kelvin Walia. Simwala now. Chungu wide. Mudenda now. Under pressure, Mudenda, but gets Larry Walia. Chungu has now taken possession of Mudenda. Cross comes. Again, Joseph Musenda. To Chungu, beats his marker. Nicely done. Brings in the cross. Everybody goes for it, but it goes wide in the end. I think it was Calvin Mubanga who couldn't control the direction to that ball there.
The pass is really perfect, and of course, Patson Daka should be running in that space, but unfortunately, he doesn't run in the right space. But you can obviously anticipate Kelvin Kampamba Muanga, but unfortunately, likewise, he was running just away from the ball. He should have been running towards it. The anticipation was not there, but great goalkeeping obviously coming through from Frederick Mwanza.
He claims that he was being pushed, but the referee having none of that. It's going to be a throw in to Nkana, and then Ashano Malama is coming to take this again. And Danashano comes back. It's going to be a long one, this. And we saw it earlier on, right in that 18 area. And there it is. Goalkeeper again collects, so almost like you're watching a repeat. So they need to, McDuff needs to change his tactic. Malama needs to take his tactic, you feel there. And long throw, it goes out. Little 1-2s there. Pushes it inside and goalkeeper comes and collects easily there on that occasion. It was from Christopher Muntali, a very long one that. Now, Benson Sakala to Kennedy Mdenda. Instrumental, Larry Bwalia. Denda was looking for the pass, but Larry Bwalia under pressure does a good job though. Denda bad first touch, but recovers it, goes out for a throw-in. Oh, it's still in play actually. Chungu pushes it forward now. Christopher Muntali to decide safety first.
Patson Daka and Martin Piri need to be playing a little bit closer.
Throw in, power. Patson Daka. Chungu crosses. A lot is happening from that flank. Chungu has been a very busy boy in this first half for Power Dynamos.
I was mentioning that maybe you should swap flanks. Obviously, Lawrence Chungu and Govenda Simwala. And you can almost see the movement coming through.
Nicely done inside. But again, good clearance from Govenda Simwala here. Very well done by Joseph Musonda. Goes forward. Brought down Jacob. It was Simon Vualia there, but good play again from Joseph.
Well, in the middle of the pack is where it's happening once again. That was very dangerous because Simon Walia just hit in the back. He's lucky he didn't get a yellow card for that infringement.
Christopher Muntali. Arms high again. The two clear, but both sides, just both players just going, and none of them was shouting for the ball. Cross comes for power from Nkana here. Goalkeeper again comes and collects. So he has been a busy man, but nothing he can't handle there, it seems so far.
Look, everything has been very routine in terms of saving Aaron Chiwe.
Joseph Musonda again. Then man-to-man on Martin Piri. On that occasion, he was offside and just about played 33 minutes in this El Kopala derby here, which is arguably the biggest derby in the land. Of course, there's also always the small matter of Nkana and Might and Fleur Wanderers coming up next this Wednesday, actually. Cross a bit too much and it goes, but Simon Weller keeps it in play. Actually, Chip was looking for the goal there.
Maybe in Chishimba, maybe a little bit of Vazilas there, but this pass is a devilish pass. It just is asking for that contact, but unfortunately the movement in terms of Freddy Shimenga, Jacob Ngulube and Walter Walia is not there. Simon chases the ball. That's the most I've seen of him, chasing the ball obviously and looking to bring it back into play. So
far, two sides evidently cancelling each other out. maybe the question is really what should they do, because now they seem to have got into a groove where they just know what to do when.
Maybe they should go back to the drawing board and employ what both the tactical directors in their teams have told them to do. Because I can't see any sort of attack play. They're not using the flanks fully. They're not using the center. It's more of individual brilliance, and let's take the ball forward. It will sort itself out.
Otawali has dropped, but again, nicely contested there with Lawrence Chungu, and he fouls him even. Power fans are excited about that.
Well, once again, the man who's been at the center of a lot of things that have happened this Walter Walia, he's really showing Lawrence Chungu a thing or two there in terms of physicality, but Chungu always just protecting the ball.
Kennedy Mdenda, Larry Walia combination there, beginning to work. Larry Walia, nice chip inside, and now Chungu being pushed. Cross comes inside, and it comes and goes off completely. The cross is a bit disappointing, both ends.
Very disappointing. If there's anything they need to practice, it's basically that.
Chungu the culprit on that occasion. The ball bounces, and goalkeeper comes and easily picks. To Chungu again. It's been busy on that flank. Kennedy Mdenda. 0-1-2s. Martin Piri under pressure, but dispossessed. Jacob Nguluve doing his job silently, but very, very effective indeed. Foul.
Second yellow of the afternoon, and looks like Janis Kazwe will not be holding back. Sakala, obviously, they are being reminded who's boss. Benson Sakala, the holding midfielder, looking to just push Simon Wali a little bit there. I don't think it was intentional, but it's the consistency in how many times he's made this foul.
So Benson Sakala there, confirmation, gets a card for Power Dynamos. So it's a one apiece where yellow cards are concerned, but the fans will be looking for goals. And in that instance, nothing has happened.
Anderson Piri always telling the players what to do, to pay attention, and obviously just
it's got to be a throw in. Larry Waller, just a deft touch there to Kelvin Mubanga. Intensity there coming through from Mabin Chishimba. Kelvin Mubanga. Chishimba for company, beats him on this occasion. Cross comes in. But Govenda Simwala does a good job. Now Simon Walia in the middle.
the Wana Radiants, who picked up a point against Zesco just last week, are leading Zanaco by a goal to nil. Napsa likewise, with the man who's been given an ultimatum there. Obviously, sum of 3 matches, drawing the first one.
So interesting there. If Lumwana Radiance actually does come through and win against Zanaco, that would be Zanaco's first loss, but it's early days, only but the first half. But Radiance proving to be very difficult out at home, out in Solwezi. So teams will be wary of going there, though of course it's a long trip, so that at times could be the complaint. But Calvin Kampamba now. Tako Shimba does a good job. See what he's trying to do there, but nicely put off by Govenda Simwala as they clear their lines with White Simwanza in that defense power. Simon, one touch there to Simenge and Martin Piri. Kennedy Mdenda on those flanks. Because looks like there's an offside decision there.
Well, offside, the trap is always being made, obviously, by the power outfit. But I think that wasn't even offside. As the ball was being played, I think the movement coming through from Walter Wadia was just perfect. He beat the offside trap. But hey, I have the luxury of a replay, and the fourth official doesn't have that luxury, as well as the second official there, Mr. Banda.
Jacob Bangolube again. Francis Kasonde does a good job there on Walter. Tanashano Malama kind of dropped a bit the pace of the game. Don't think they were going to manage to maintain that pace though. Kennedy Mudenda goes past his man. Tanashano gets possession, but as always, wow, that is how does he just point at the referee in that fashion? Oh, Danashano, he should know better. He tried to cut that out, surely.
Familiarity breeds contempt. The captain, obviously, of Nkana really should not be talking to the referee like that. Donashano Malama picks up a yellow card. And there he was. Kennedy Mudenda had him beaten for pace. Donashano Malama put his leg in there and he's claiming he got the ball, but he got the man first before the ball. If anything, there was no contact with the ball.
In fact, he simply went and blocked Kennedy Mudenda off the ball. But that finger there should not be wagging in the direction of the most important man on the pitch.
Unnecessary yellow. That might lead, obviously, in a game like this to a second yellow, which would put him on a red. He will be hoping to just be disciplined.
He has to be now. Smaller inside. Nicely done, pass on Daka. The 18, he goes down over a push there, shot. Wale! Kennedy Mudenda makes the difference here. Oh, they've come and done it here. Power Dynamo scoring in the 40th minute. Kennedy Mudenda, after a little bit of toss on the right, easy does it. He just saw where the goalkeeper was, Frederick Mwansa, and put it on the other side. And it's the yellow boys here who are excited, who are up and down and just about on cloud 9.
It was, of course, started by that man there, Patson Daka. He goes down, a little bit of confusion, and the ball is put into the box by Govenda Simwala. Denda is left alone there, and I think the defensive duo of Mebin Shimba and Joseph Musonda was not paying attention. And obviously, it all started from that unnecessary yellow card that was picked up by Donashano Malama. And it just led to this, I think, Mudenda pouncing. And again, we've seen that lacklusterness of the third choice goalkeeper in Frederick Mwansa. We've been talking about it. He's been playing well, but he's not number 1, he's not number 2, he is number 3, and it showed right there.
So then, at the home of Nkana Football Club, looks like the Nkana faithful have to wait a bit more here, because it's Nkana Football Club 0, Power Dynamos 1. So, Kennedy Mudenda comes and does the business. We'll feel that there's still one whole half to play Nkana, only that I don't think this is what they were looking at when they woke up this morning. They were thinking they would be the ones to score and probably go ahead and add on a couple more, but it's not happening yet. And an opportunity for Kennedy Mudenda, uses his space, Muntali on him, but he was too close to him. Kennedy Mudenda trying to bring in that cross, and it goes out. Really, that was just hoping against hope, but Muntali stood strong. Throw in here. Chungu, nicely done. The quick turn here, shoots from there, ricochets, but opportunity, Piri. Again, it's Joseph Musonda, and now it's Christopher Muntali, who eventually does clear, and it goes out. So pressure and relenting here from Power Dynamos.
Martin Piri had an opportunity to obviously give it a little bit of a snapshot there, but it was always difficult owing to the fact that Musonda was just there and putting some cover, but Power really moving around with their tails in the air.
Cross comes, and it's now Kennedy Mudenda again on the flank being pursued here. So Power now
Well, there's a man down away from the screens, obviously, and Janice Caswell will have to run and probably see what's going on in that instance.
It's maybe Chishimba, the overlapping fullback for Nkana, who got injured. And they're being asked to just take him outside, off the pitch for a bit of repair there, but it's 0-0 on that first game involving Kwazi Wanderers, Green Eagles, Green Buffaloes 0-0. That's a big game as well. Red Arrows, Cabo Warriors still, and Lumwana Radiance against Zanaco. Well, Zanaco has come back and gotten that equalizer.
Isaac Chanza obviously has scored one, and the maturity comes to play, and that's what Power will be looking for here, some maturity to just come play down.
William Azib has been talked to by the referee on that occasion, but fair play there from Nkana's strong man, Donashano Malama, as Power fans are on cloud 9. So too this man, Anderson Perry. Of course, the outside persona kind of deceives you, but I'm sure there's a bit of somersaults from within when they got that goal from Kennedy Mudenda. And Kennedy Mudenda is on the ball again. Has to cross that one, does. Martin Peary a bit too much in that 18 area. He could have just shot, but it's cleared off the line though by Chishimba. Brought down. The referee decides there's no penalty there. Power fans not happy. Joseph Musonda now easy does it. He beats his man to the ground. And Simon Walia, one touch. Fred Chimenge sends it wide to Gudi Maziba. A touch, and again Chungu does a good job. It's Larry Walia. Chip inside, Kennedy Mdenda is having a game, Kennedy. And it's closely marked by McDuff Chungu. Kelvin Mwanga goes past 3 players, but Christopher Muntali is a bit smarter on that occasion. Simon Walia now. Again, is being pursued. Referee call brings this first half to a close here at Nkana Stadium, and what a game this has been. It's your typical El Kopala, and Kennedy Mudenda though has been the man that has made the difference. Dinashano Malama, the captain, getting himself a yellow card, very, very strong in the middle of the park there, and Kennedy Mudenda though is the man of the moment, has gotten the goal in this El Kopala, and it doesn't get any bigger than this where goals are concerned. So then, at Nkana Stadium here on the Copper Belt, it's Nkana Football Club 0, Power Dynamos 1. Join us again for the second half.
The first half has come and gone, and it has delivered one goal scored by Kennedy Mudenda in the 41st minute of the Kitwe Derby. It is Kalampa Nkana Football Club new and Power Dynamos new. Now, one interesting statistic is that the last time Power Dynamos beating Nkana by 1-0 at this venue, it was again Kennedy Mudenda who scored. Only that this time around, the goal has come in the 41st minute, but in 2008, Kennedy Mudenda did score. It ended 1-0, and that goal came in the 14th minute of the match. Whether that will be the result that will obtain at the end of the game, we'll wait and see. Now, Mukamba Mwenda Jr. joins me on pitch side, and halftime 1-0 in favor of Power.
Well, I think it was a scrappy game. Power scoring because they picked up on an opportunity. It's one of those games where you couldn't even see the tactical approach from both teams. It was high pace from the beginning. I think it didn't help anybody.
It did help anybody because there was so much in terms of the game that was, in terms of the chances that were created. Yes, not very exciting at some point, you might say.
Not exciting, and I think it came down to the passing game and them employing themselves. I think they just needed to have a lot of awareness and composure, both teams. And the goal came because the combination of play on the flank obviously was a little bit too much. Kampamba and obviously Mudenda running into the space. Nkana started off badly because Donashano Mulama shouldn't have been speaking to the referee in that fashion. That's where the goal came from. But then again, everything will obviously come to fruition in the second half.
All right, let's give you a summation of how the first half was, because highlights there were plenty there. Let's start with this chance that came through Nkana's way, and it was Power Dynamos rather who brought in that cross opportunity for Lariwa. You did talk about how he takes these shots, this former K-Stars player.
Well, he's brilliant. He picks his place, and he obviously goes for placement there. And if you look what he was looking to do, it was always going through. And the goalkeeper, Frederick Mwanza, had no answer to that shot. But fortunate for him, it was always going wide. I think he didn't wrap his foot around the ball too much. All
right, and that was a chance that Power Dynamos had in the opening exchange. But on the other side, action moved very fast from one end to the other because the Power Dynamos goal custodian, Alan Chiwe, had to be called to duty. And the more reason why is the first choice ahead of Joshua Titima.
Well, Alan Chiwe has really been proving the critics wrong. The pass comes through. He was a snapshot. I think he needed to react there. And what makes good goalkeepers is impulse. You need to be very impulsive and anticipate the danger there. I mean, there's a lot of distance between him and the near post, but he covers very well.
All right, and also you're talking about reflexes. I think credit should go to Chiwe. Question marks about how this Power defense was lining up.
Most certainly, I think the Power defense leaves much to be desired. They've not played well. Nkana has not punished them. The delivery on both sides has not been really good. But hey, the most important number is 1.
All right, and of course, we're talking about the several changes that have been made in terms of the Power Dynamos defense setup. But question marks again about the Power Dynamos defense came through because Walter Wale was so far scored 6 goals from Nkana Football Club. The former Forest Rangers striker had an opportunity to probably put this one behind the back of the net.
Well, he leaves his marker left for dead, and you can see Chiwe there obviously anticipating the danger, and that's the only reason Walter didn't score there, because the goalkeeper really got out of his line and realized that he needed to come out. The chip was there, but it wasn't just perfect, and you can appreciate the fact that he was doing all this in the air. So, there's very little you can do. He couldn't control play and then try to chip the goalkeeper. So it was okay coming from him. The pressure, obviously, brilliant from the striker.
The reaction, obviously, coming through from the goalkeeper must be credited for that one. But the defining moment so far in the first half came through when Kennedy Mudenda, a bit of charitable set up in terms of the defense, the way the Nkana players were lined up. But you can take us through, Muka.
Well, it starts off with Govenda there. He passes the ball, and Patsen Daka goes. He falls and brings that confusion. Govenda passes the ball, and it goes to Kennedy Mudenda, who connects with play. And you can clearly see why Nkana are using a third-choice goalkeeper, because the maturity is not there. I mean, it's expected to be beaten in a game, but not in that fashion. I think he saw the ball coming. He didn't even anticipate to parry it.
But again, question marks. I still want to draw attention to this because there are 5 defenders there. You can see no one was picking up Kennedy Mudenda and Mark there.
Well, the problem came in because the most prolific player so far in terms of defense for Nkana is Joseph, and Joseph has been put on the flanks. He was playing to defend the ball from obviously Govenda on that right flank, but more importantly, the problem came from Donashano Malama.
Wow. They have to do a lot of talking, I guess. I presume that's the talk that is happening in the two dressing rooms, especially in the Nkana one. But let's show you how the first half panned out in terms of the statistics, because the most important statistics, my word, Power Dynamos away, leading by 1-0. Look at the goal at Thames. 9 for Power. That must be disappointing. Only 1 behind the back of the net.
Well, both the teams have not really utilized half chances or opportunities to score. Power has had at least 2-3 chances. They've buried 1, but they've been very disappointing, both teams in front of goal.
51% ball possession for Nkana, 49 for Power Dynamos. We've got 2 yellow cards for Nkana. A question of probably tempers coming into the Nkana setup.
A little bit of that and frustration as well. I think when Nkana started, they dominated a lot of play, but unfortunately nothing came out of it. And this Power side just waited for them. They settled down and they've managed to score a goal.
Action areas, Muka, your interpretation for that?
Well, nothing much to write home about in terms of action as far as I'm concerned, because where I want to see the action, it's not there in the final third. I mean, in the middle of the park, it's very physical. Players' tempers are flaring, but truth be told, we'll see a lot in the second half, because if the first half is anything to go by.
All right, and very quickly also, let's talk about also the other results. I know that Zanaco are 1-0. Lumwana look like a difficult side to beat at home in Northwestern Province.
Well, from what we are gathering right now is that there's a lot of tempers up for Zanaco. Their team doctor has been sent off. Isaac Chancellor was given a yellow card. And really, Lumwana, after picking up a point against Zesco, they'll do a lot to pick up a point or even 3 points against Zanaco.
All right, no changes made in the first half by either side, and that tells you one thing, that maybe the two teams' coaches, Anderson Piri and Agri Chiange Conte. Let's start with Nkana. They are down. Who do you fancy might be introduced?
Well, I'll straight on go to Shadrack Musonda. He's somebody who can come through and make some changes, because I've not seen a lot of Simon Wali. I don't even know why Shadrack didn't start. So that's a player you can probably see coming on and playing. In terms of defense, Given might come in. He's been playing well. He was obviously substituted to make some tactical changes for Nkana. If we take it to the Nkana, to the Power outfit, well, there's a lot of abundance in terms of players that can come in, but 2 to be precise. And I think Fuayo is not fully match fit, but he's somebody who can give Nkana problems. Luka Lungu as well. Patson Daka has disappointed me in this game. I mean, him and Simon Wali should probably exchange notes during halftime. They were not anywhere close to the games. They've really played terrible football for both their teams. If there are any changes that I would make, if it were me, Fuayo Tembo, Luka Lungu would come on for Patson Daka, and of course Simon Wali I would remove and bring in Shadrack Musonda.
I like the word if, because Muka is definitely not coach from Nkana or Power Dynamos, but maybe for some social club in terms of football. But now let's talk about, I like the first 5 minutes of the game. Nkana are down. What sort of approach do we expect from them?
Well, I'd expect them to really just use what they've had all season long in terms of strength. Pass the ball, use the flanks. Gili Manziba is a brilliant player on the flanks. Let him move to the center. I think the movement between him and Walter Walia has always been perfect in games. But for some reason, we've not seen a lot of that this afternoon. The position of play, Freddie Chimanga is obviously not also pressing the flanks. So in terms of the midfielding duo, they really need to give support to the attacking
And for
third.
Power Dynamos?
Well, Power Dynamos should continue what they've been doing, just frustrating.
Come on, you didn't tell me the prediction at the start of this build-up. I think this is an opportunity. I'll still ask the same question.
Well, I will still tell you, it's all about heart. The team that puts their heart on their sleeve will win this one.
So who has put it so far?
I would say both of them.
All right, it's halftime here, and of course, it's that 41st minute goal by Kennedy Mudenda. Something reminiscent to what happened in 2008 when Power Dynamos beating Nkana by 1-0. We take a very short ad break. The second half is up with Innocent Kalaluka and Mukamba Mwenda Jr. Keep it here on the World of Champions Super Sports.
Welcome back to this second half here in Kitwe. It is the El Kopala and Nkana Football Club, the home side, trailing Power Dynamos by a goal to nil, courtesy of Kennedy Mudenda, as Gianni Sikazu just blows his whistle for the second half. Nkana all to play for now. They need to get that equalizer, and hopefully they can get that win as far as they're concerned, because they are the home side. But Power Dynamos so far have enjoyed quite a decent half of in the first half, where they did dominate play, really, though it was kind of swinging like a pendulum for most part of the game, because two sides really getting at each other's throat, and rather physical game also. 3 yellow cards in the process for Nkana, maybe Ntushim, but Donashano Malama, in a way expected. Donashano very he's a quintessential hard man in midfield that every team needs. Benson Sakala equally holding midfielder, getting himself on a card for his side. But it's a long throw in now here to be taken by Donashano, as always for Nkana. It comes high again, hanging, but it's cleared. Shimba shoots just wide. So then goes out for a corner though. So just as the first half was here, it's all Nkana that are starting strongly, and they'll be hoping that they will be able to get that equalizer quick enough. Shimba takes this, it comes, goalkeeper comes out, Pirates it, Kennedy Mdenda helps out, Jacob Gulube spreads it wide, Guli Maziba dispossessed. Piri does a good job here, but eventually Jacob Gulube been very impressive today in this first half for his side. It's going to be a throw-in for Power, that not so much in a hurry now. They are leading as Govenda Sumala takes that. White, Mwanabamba and Francis Kasonde have been close to impeccable in the center for Power. Kasonde now. A bit too much. I think it went out here. Yes, it did. And no change in personnel, so Mukamwende.
Definitely no change in personnel. Expect a couple of changes with 10 or 15 minutes into the game. I think Power will be happy to allow Nkana to attack them, and just it should be probably a controlled play in the second half, because both teams were really pushing the matter too much in the first half, the first 5 minutes, to no great, obviously, result.
But save for the Power goal though, and that one nicely done, and just about creeping. But of course, Frederick Mwanza had that one covered.
Well, Mwanza had that one covered, and it's hit by obviously the captain, Francis Kasonde. He's played some decent football for the national team, and we've seen a lot of players who played for the national team come back into reckoning for probable call-up, owing to the fact that Zambia is still looking to qualify to a lot of tournaments.
Well then, almost confusion in that 18.
Well, confusion to the fact that that would have probably been an own goal, because the ball just, I don't know if it ricocheted off his foot or something.
Walter Walia now. It's got to be a throw-in. Francis Kasonde is the most player that has played the most derbies amongst the players that are on the pitch. Francis Kasonde has been around for quite a long time, so he definitely holds that record.
Well, there it is. Benson Sakala needs to really watch his play, but fortunate for him, earlier on in the first half he picked up a yellow card, but you know, he's been at the bad end of tackles on him, not him actually infringing tackles, because if there are any players who are in danger of being sent off, he is one of them. Donashano Malama and maybe Shimba.
Yes.
So Anderson Piri so far enjoying a good start to his career as the head coach for Power. Kennedy Mdenda now drifted back and quickly cut inside. He's got a man to beat. Kapala step over the nice cross, but it's always Joseph Musonda in the center there does a good job. As Maziba tries to cut inside, but again Sumwala does a good job there. Joseph Musonda It's really been man-mountain defense from Nkana.
He's been had a very decent afternoon, and I think one of the reasons why they considered a goal is that he didn't have any cover when he left that middle of the pack. But Joseph has vast experience, and every time you see him, you just can't help but remember him being lifted to obviously pick up his medal.
Then Ashana Walama tries to chip it inside, and again it's Ngulube. Simenga now cuts. Opportunity to shoot, it does, but two defenders there. And eventually they do clear their lines, or do they now? Like I say, handball.
Handball. Freddie Shimenge obviously is the guilty party. It will be a throw-in for a free kick for Power, and a substitution as well. Nkana will be looking to bring on somebody to just make some changes, and that is, of course, Musonda. Now, I'm surprised that Gili Manziba is the one who's midway.
Gili Manziba makes way for Shadrack Musonda. I'm looking for pace, really like for because Shadrack and Gili Manziba play on the wing, both of them, so not much change, but maybe just fresh legs to just liven up proceedings on the flanks. Shadrack Musonda now, the newcomer. Oh, but being shown how it's being done here as it's cleared by Simwala. Shadrack, like we observed, always has a patch just above his left eye.
I think it's fashionable where he comes from.
At least we can, makes it easy for us to identify him up here in the commentary box. Jacob Glube just pushes him to the 18 though. And eventually they clear. Lawrence Chungu. Piri being held by Christopher Muntalia. Play allowed to go on, nicely laid past that. But a bit too much though for Patson Daka. Managed to keep it in. Larry Walia to Patson. Somebody has to drop it in that 18 area where the likes of Martin Piri are laying in wait. Larry Walia, nice touch. It's all Power now. Should be said about Power, one of the best passing teams in the league. And Shanomalam almost shoved off the ball there, but stands strong. Chung. Is it Shimba? Not being marked here, and again it's in the middle. Gulube. The center circle spreads it. Does a bad job though. Chungu does a bad job equal and goes down, but eventually goes out for a throw into Nkana.
Well, Nkana really pushing the matter. They do not want to leave this place with a loss, them playing at home. More so that the Republican president is here to watch alongside the Nkana faithfuls.
Oh, you don't want to lose on that such a huge occasion. Jacob Ngulube, Haribala went for that. Frederick Mwansa. Is it actually Alan Chibwe rather? Was tall and commanding his area. Ball goes up for a throw into Nkana. So Nkana, very, very quick change from the home side.
Well, Agrechiengi obviously looking to just put more impetus on the flanks, and that's where they've not really maximized. So that means that Shadrack Musonda will be looking to actually push the matter on the flanks. Now, Musonda did play in the game against Green Buffaloes, and he's one to always just deliver probably some deadly balls.
And now again in that 18, Simon Walia cross comes, but eventually is cleared again. Overhead kick, Kasonde clears it, but Simon Walia went for the acrobatics there, but did not work. Looks like he was caught off as well.
Well, the ball was always bouncing in the air, so anything was expected, and very attentive Yanis Kazwe. But I honestly think that was an offside.
No, Simon was coming from the offside. So he was coming in, but he went in and attempted to hit that, to get the overhead kick. So that's what puts him in that offside position.
Martin Piri has had a busy day at the office. Probably the gap between him and Patson Daka should be reduced if they should have any sort of glory in this game here.
Walter Walia, brilliant ball control there, and spreads it wide to Shadrack Musonda now. Shadrack cuts inside, beats his mark again, but maybe Bitten every bit too much than he can chew here as Danashano Malamado spreads the ball. Gulube beats his marker in the 18 area, but Kasonde easy on the ball and just has that one cleared. So they are pushing the issue here now in Nkana Football Club, the home side.
They are pushing the issue, and looks like Agrechiengi will not wait any further. He's looking to bring on another substitution, and looks like it's Spencer Ngalande who will come on. And if you look at how Nkana are playing, they really feel that they deserve to win this game.
Oh, should result in goals though. Cross comes, and nothing doing there, and it goes out again for a throw-in. So Agrechiengi wants to make a change. Agrechiengi himself, during his heydays, made his name at Power Dynamos. Turns out that's really just shows how closely connected these two sides are, and that's how come there's so much animosity sometimes in these local derbies, because Agrechiengi power through and through, and then he comes and coaches Nkana to great effect. Spencer Ngalande comes in, and Simon Walia, like you had anticipated, comes out not the best game that we've seen him play, Simon. So he's out.
Well, they waited a little bit, the technical bench of the Nkana team, so maybe they felt he had a better game than Gili Manziba. But again, if you're going to put in the likes of Spencer Ngalande and obviously Shadrack Musonda, that means you're looking to maximize on the flanks, but you need men in the center. So that means that Walter Walia will have to be a busybody in that pocket.
Shadrack Musonda now on the flank. Bubbles there as Larry Boyle just comes away with it. Kelvin Mubanga. Again, Power proving very stubborn there as Christopher Muntali again. Shadrack Musonda was cut deep inside.
The downside to playing such a high pressing game is that if Martin Piri gets the ball and he has pace on him, he can just hit you on a counter attack. And against the run of play, you can concede.
Well, of course, Christopher Muntali and Joseph Musonda, not the fastest players on the pitch, definitely in that central defense for Nkana. So on the counter, they can be caught, found wanting, you feel.
Well, the pass was almost inch perfect, but once again, it's always drifting out. Even if there was contact there, I'm very sure that Alan Chiwe would have just covered for it. But a brilliant play coming through from Spencer Ngalande. That's what's expected of him, obviously, on the flanks. Him and his other substitute compatriot, obviously, in form of Shadrack Musonda on the left.
Well, you can see what he was trying to do there with that deft touch, Kelvin Kampamba. Joseph Musonda looks bemused. And looks bemused indeed, because he's actually getting a yellow card. Or is he the one with the card? It is Joseph Musonda. He doesn't seem to understand why. Maybe you can explain to us, Mukapola.
Well, it all comes down to the fact that there was contact from Joseph Musonda on the man. He stopped him from obviously running into space. And unfortunately, that amounted to a yellow card. Larry Wala was looking to actually run through the space and get a pass from Kelvin Kampamba Muwanga. Joseph Musonda was, what's the term that is normally used? He was impeding progress.
But hey, that expression from him was Oscar winning. You kind of felt that he didn't do a thing. But turns out he did, actually.
I've always felt that if there's one thing that footballers can do very well is act. So either go to Bollywood, Hollywood, or even Nollywood, because the simulation that we see, the reactions from players, if you made a monologue, it would be very interesting.
Well, Kelvin Mubanga, what is he doing on that flank?
Talk about showboating. Unfortunately, Mubanga then concedes a free kick. Let me show you what I have. We're leading by 1-0. Mubanga telling Mebin Chishimba there, and his showboating unfortunately leads to nothing.
Well, you really won't mind though. He's down. Down injured though. Can't really tell whether it was from that challenge. He's being helped back on his feet. He's having a field day. This is his former side. He was playing for them just the other season, so he's playing against them here, and is very happy to be on the winning side.
These two sides still obviously separated by the Ndola Kitwe dual carriageway. You're either on the yellow side of Kitwe, which is power, or the red side, which is Nkana.
Free kick here, a bit too much, but goes on to Kennedy Mudenda, or does it? It goes out in the end. Some of the free kicks that we've seen here leave a lot to be desired.
Most certainly, and you know, you were talking about players who've played for both teams, coaches who've played for both teams and coaching another team. I must add that I wonder how the conversation is like when it comes to the Chungu game, the Chungu house, I beg your pardon.
Zanaco in the game against Lumwana Radiants actually have gone there without their coach Numba Mamba, who lost a brother. Matthew Mamba was being buried today, so Numba Mamba did not travel. He'll be pleased if his team does not lose. They are one apiece, at least the last time we checked, against Lumwana out in Lumwana.
I think the football fraternity in Zambia has also in the recent past lost some notable people. Porchela, Go Pocha, always was very good in the air. I was put to rest during the course of the week.
Go Pocha, extraordinaire. He used most of his goals came from the header. And I remember those days we were playing football and they're like, well, just do a capochela, that's to say, head the ball.
Just head the ball, eh?
Oh, yeah. Did quite well. Not as much for the national team, but he did get a couple of goals. But really, for Mighty Mfira Wanderers, was such a player.
He was a player, and a lot of these lads here playing today would do well to watch some of his old games because they're not doing so much when it comes to corners and using their heads.
Using their heads to hit the ball.
Yeah, to hit the ball.
Thank you very much. Shadrach Musonda now on the flank, brings in the cross, heads. Nkana has got the equalizer here, and it looks like it's Shadrach Musonda, the substitute. What an inspired substitution. You would have had the pin drop when they conceded, but boy, what noise we have here. It's actually the youngster Jacob Ngulube who heads that one.
He clearly had what we were saying when we're talking about Porchela. The placement is perfect, and he uses his head to change the trajectory of the ball. The pass comes through, obviously, from Shadrach Musonda. It's inch perfect. It's one of those deafening passes. It's put in the box in the pocket, and the young man just does impeccably. That is, of course, Jacob Ngulube. Brilliant play. It was always rising and dipping at the right moment. It's one apiece in the Kitwe derby.
Well then, that's how you use your head. He does the Porchela, like we were just saying. So it's Nkana 1, Power Dynamos 1. Shadrach Musenda now takes the ball. Now we've got a game on our hands. Yet again, we are back to where it all started. But they've brought the house down here as the ball is chipped inside into 18 area again. Now they're overlapping again with Nkana's Magdaf Chungu. He forces the issue, a player goes down, is that a foul? The referee allows for play to go. It was very close, really. And is asking for the stretcher, so he did not blow because maybe he was playing advantage. I'm very sure there could be a card here. It was right in the center.
Most certainly very dangerous play coming through, and there it is. It is really something that would leave you off. It's Lawrence Chungu, obviously, who receives Freddy Chimenge's. As a matter of fact, it's Spencer Ngalande.
Was it now? Spencer Ngalande, substitution already made for Power. Larry Walia comes out for Victor Kashitu. So while all this is going on, substitute for Power Dynamos.
Oh, this was the incident once again, and of course that tackle there was always late.
But was there contact, really? I think he played to that Magdaf Chungu. He definitely was very minimal contact to warrant that kind of...
Magdaf left his leg obviously trailing. And there it is. There's contact with the ball and the foot, but I honestly don't think it was that bad, but he was just milking it for everything it was worth.
Yes, the contact really, well, almost back to live action here. And it's Power Dynamos who have been fouled, but it's quickly taken. So Power now not hanging around after conceding. We certainly have a game on our hands. Tell you that, as Kelvin Mwanga now is not going to do a lot of that playing around with the ball. Spread the ball wide. Kennedy Mdenda looking for Kennedy Mdenda, but that's cleared by McDuff Chungu, and the fans are loving that. Throw in Kennedy Mdenda now. It's all square here in the El Kopala. Chungu again brings down Martin Peary. You could see he was looking in the direction of the referee, hoping there was no card. And the push forward. Water heads it back, and there was a push on him though, so it's a foul. And again, quickly Dan shoots, and a miss there, and it goes out for a throw-in.
Power really need to concentrate, otherwise Nkana will punish them. Nkana have the momentum, certainly great pace coming from the likes of Freddy Chimenga, and of course the new entrants in this game, Spencer Ngalande and Shadrack Msonda.
Calvin Mwanga. And then into 18 yards, a bit of a push. The goalkeeper almost being caught out there. But Frederick Mwansa recovered very well there to collect.
He allowed the ball to bounce. I don't even know why.
It's foul Power. And Govenda Smala leaves that one. That's on the chips, about a bit too much. He's looking for Kennedy Mudenda. Then Ashano Malama pushes it, puts it forward. Nicely done by young Jacob Pongulube. Inside! Oh! Goalkeeper makes the save, but what instinctive predatory skills there from the top man.
Well, he scored 6 goals so far. You wouldn't really not think that he's going to score another one.
Well, yeah, certainly Walter Warrior on 7 goals, or almost making it 8. Throw in, Joseph Msonda takes. Shadrack Msonda. From one Msonda to the other. Shadrack wants to go past Sumwala, but Sumwala keeps his eyes on the ball. Kelvin Mwanga cuts inside. Oh, nicely spread though from Victor Kashitu. Kashitu again in possession. He just fitted in very well since coming in as a substitute. Kasonde, they're being booed, Power Dynamo's players, but we expect that they're playing at nkana. And everything that nkana will do will be cheered on. But our job not yet done here. They need to get that second goal. Anderson Peary knows it's crunch time. Bounces off here, still Quasi Green Eagles 0-0 here. Mfuria Wanderers is down to Green Buffaloes.
Chirwa scoring in that one there, and Nakambala holding Lusaka Dynamos at home. Red Arrows obviously taking on Cabo.
Radiance one, Zanaco has come through and gotten that goal, so they are in the lead here out in Lumwana. Lumwana very strong at home, but Zanaco really very strong this season.
Fashion Sakala scoring that second goal, adding on to Isaac Chance's goal, so they lead Lumwana Radiance. Zanaco have not lost a game so far this season. They only drew against Power in midweek, so I think Nkana will do well to obviously listen to whispers of what's going on around the country.
Well, Fashion Sakala, 2 goals in 3 games so far, and think Kitu is beginning to come into his own zone for Zanaco, and they'll be happy for that because they really don't have an out-and-out striker. That was the main concern for them, even at continental level, and that's how come they were booted out. But now, seemingly, Mamba and company are beginning to mold some of those midfielders and wingers into strikers of note, Fashion Sakala being one of them. Now, Kashitu again goes out for a throw in. It's nkana not capitalizing on that momentum that they had just after getting that equalizer, though.
Well, we can owe it to the fact that Power have just decided to change their tactical approach. They're playing 2 banks of 4 and looking to hit nkana on a counter-attack. And I mean, the league is really interesting. Every game counts. There are 18 teams now. The team to beat was undoubtedly Zesco, and Zesco have been dropping points like their life depends on it. Their draw, obviously, with Lumwana, then their draw with Kawe, then they lost to Forest. Tomorrow, obviously, on the World of Champions, Zesco will be in action.
Well, it's a foul there. And even while we're looking at it, word has it that Luka Lungu, the man that filled up a lot of talk on social media after saying...
Well, the incident once again leaves Patson Daka with a little bit of knee on his face. That is serious coming from Mabin Chishimba.
Oh, well, you can tell he was going for the ball though, and Patson was more or less falling.
Not so. So, then when we are bully, then you are bully. You don't go and touch on. Message no go you're not going to message you, babe.
Oh. A lot of instructions there at the break, but this is how it happened, I guess. That goal there, goalkeeper was expecting the ball on his near post, but
Kennedy Mdenda connecting with it, obviously just ensuring that Power went ahead. And this one here coming off the substitute, Shadrack Msonda, great pass and a great goal coming through from Jacob Ngulube. I think the header was just an inch perfect. I mean, he just bit his marker, and the goalkeeper, Alan Chiwe, had no reply to it.
Jacob Ngulube getting his 3rd goal of the season, so great return for a midfielder. Again, right in that 18 area, but the ball just being cleared easily. Now it's nkana trying to go forward. And it's the big man, Spencer Ngalande, there, using his body. So Power have held back on that substitution because Patson Daka is out injured, and Luka Lungu, I don't know who initially was supposed to come, who was supposed to replace, but now maybe they'll wait and see what's happening with Patson Daka. They've got a knee in the face, and that can be very uncomfortable. So Luka Lungu, I was saying, is about to come, and he caused a lot of stir on social media, especially after he went on national television to say that Power and nkana players, most of them, if they were playing for Power, would probably be on the bench. The question is, why are they leading the table, though? You know, just saying.
Well, sibling rivalry, so to say.
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
Both teams hailing from the great city of Kitwe. And it's the derby to Seva, the derby that everybody waits for, and it's lived up to expectation.
Oh, it has. 2 goals, 1 apiece, and still game on even after 73 minutes here. Kennedy Mdenda. Nice to see him get back. I remember during the reign of Herve Renard as coach for the national team, he felt Kennedy Mdenda has so much skill. His biggest challenge was that he never drops to help out, and now he's doing that through and through, so really it's come of age.
Mdenda always good when it comes to the flanks, but Donashano Malama realizing the danger and clears the player as well in the process, but Mdenda doesn't show us his acting skills.
Oh, but that sliding tackle from Donashano Malama was exactly that. So now that substitution will be met. So Patson Daka, no wonder they waited. He wasn't the man to be substituted. It's actually Martin Peary, who has certainly run his socks off, Martin.
So clearly me and Anderson are not watching the same game. Martin Peary running his socks off. I haven't seen much of Patson, but he's still in. Maybe they're looking to use him as a trump card. He must know something we don't.
So Luka Lungu comes in, and will he leave to what he said, that they are the better side? Well, as it stands, Even Stevens here, inside cross, inside the 18, goalkeeper comes and collects easily there. And they'll start with Chungu. Kashitu was having a good game. Kennedy Mudenda loses the ball, but gets it back. Benson Sakala, Calvin Mwanga. Oh, look at that. Brilliant from the man. Benson Sakala, easy on the ball, Benson. Always knows where to lay the ball to as he looks for Chungu on this flank. And kind of have dropped a bit here. He's played 75 minutes now in this second half. Christopher Muntali does a good job. Jacob Nguluve. Head in the wrong direction there from a power player, but they will be able to just clear this. It goes out for a throw into Nkana. So at one apiece, the real issue here is what should both of this side, either of this side, do. They're looking to win this one.
Well, they obviously have to just maximize on their strengths. Nkana really good in the box, and this will come long.
Definitely does. And ends right there. Water heads it forward, but good cover there from Govenda Sumwala. So they always look for that man, and he stands tall in that 18 area. Water Walia. On loan from Forest. Speaking of Forest, though, they ended a winning streak of Zesco United, the defending champions. And that too was a local derby out in Ndola. And looks like the banana skin for Zesco United.
Well, Forest have a new manager in Mr. Piri. And of course, he decided to hand-pick his assistant in Peri Mutapa. So he's left Lusaka Dynamos and is now with Forest.
So they did the business. Literally just opened up the league in that sense. Only Zanaco now are one of those that have been beaten. Nicely done there from the big man. Spencer, goalkeeper comes out of sorts, needs a chip here, and it's magic. Hits the upright. Good thinking there from Jacob Guluve again, the youngster. Oh, kisses that. You served me the blushes. He had gone out, made contact, but not as good.
His blushes definitely served him. Did anticipate the danger, but unfortunately he wasn't quick enough to come back. He's always second best, and that placement is just mere inch perfect. He goes on to kiss the bar because he realizes that if it wasn't for it, his team would have been trailing by 2 goals to 1.
Shadrach Musonda there, who just clipped it. Nice weight, very good weight on it, but just a bit too much weight. The goalkeeper there.
Alan Chiwe really was going to make a comical scenario of everything because he really came out, and you can understand why. He noticed that his defender was going to be beaten for pace.
But all of a sudden, had that gone in, it was going to be, why did he even go out?
I think this is the 3rd time he's done this. He's come out.
To great effect.
Yes,
but on this occasion, it was going to be egg on the face.
Well, Jacob Nguluve, unfortunately, is holding his chest. He was in that infringement, but his goal is the toast of Nkana at the moment. It's 1 apiece thanks to that great goal he scored. And that's how it was. The goalkeeper came out, the contact coming in, Nguluve looking to hit the ball, and that's where the infringement came in. But all the attention was being put onto the goal because you can see how many hands went on top of their heads from the Nkana players as well as supporters.
It's Francis Kasonde actually, the hard man for Power Dynamos, who went in very, very strongly there with that challenge on the small frame of Jacob Nguluve, who's being looked at now. Corner counts. Goes out there for goal kick. Looks like it's another corner though. So then now corner to Power Dynamos. It's Kennedy Mudenda to take. Likes of Muntali up in there to clear. Goalkeeper comes and just takes care of business. Frederick Mansa.
He's very good in the air, but I think his reaction and sense of anticipation sometimes is a little bit off.
Freddy Chimenge there. Almost had to put the ball between the legs of the defender. Too smart for that, but Shadrach Musonda's come in and as always He always puts in 101%. Shadrack, he pushes the issue on the flanks.
101% and a banded as well.
Well, Luka Lungu is in the fray now. Not seen much of him. He's now alongside the Patson Daka. As Zamsonda clears, we've seen a lot of him. Back to the goalkeeper. Chungu. Another brother beaten on this side. Ntali there. Oh, good control. Jacob Ngulube is back after that injury. Easy does it from power. Times the passing game. Literally poetry in motion. Cross comes. Heads by Muntali. Shadrack Musonda cleared by Donashano Malama. Luka Lungu there. A bit of confrontation, but the ball bounces. The goalkeeper comes and collects Alan Chiwe. So at times the game really almost boiling over at times, you feel.
Well, I did mention it will be a game of fine margins with 10 minutes plus extra time to go. It all comes down to the mistakes that will be made and some individual brilliance, obviously, if we're going to see more goals in this game. But we have players who can turn this game on top of his head. One of them is this one right here.
Otawalia now. He pushes his marker off the ball. The referee says it's advantage play. Overhead kick by Shadrack Nsonda, bit too much that and goes completely out. But they're expecting the referee, and you can see Alan Chiwe going to plead with Johnny Sikazwe. Shadrack Nsonda says that I used my body.
Well, he used his hands, he didn't use his shoulders, but maybe the positioning of the referee was not there. But Walter Walia's pass also was just not perfect. That overhead kick was only gonna go in if we were watching a rugby game.
And it's football at its best here in the local derby. It's just about 9 minutes to play here of regular time. There will be some added on time, a couple of injuries, not very bad ones though, which is good to see, because in such derbies there's always a red card, forced substitution due to injury, but this one, in as much as it has been physical, I think played in good spirits at the end though.
The consistency from Denda was one of the reasons why he rarely plays for the national team consistently, because he always comes in and out of games, you know, he never has that level of consistency.
Christopher Muntali being pressured by Luka Lungu here. Chungu does well though to just use Kennedy Mudenda. There's Chungu there in the picture too. Govenda smaller, and again it's Donashano Malama. Shimba cross inside. Goalkeeper comes and actually just does a very good job by plucking that one. And Luka Lungu now. But it goes out for a throw in. Quickly done here by Magdaf Chungu. Shadrack Musonda's come to this side here as he tries to bring in the cross from the right. Getting into the other Chungu. It's going to be a throw in, and Donashano Malama comes for the long one. And as always, he's going to take his sweet time, and it's going to be a long one there. So Christopher Muntali and company in that 18 area, it comes high and hanging. Goalkeeper comes and does not connect. But now they want to quickly turn defense into attack. And they do just that with Patson Daka. Looks for Mdenda on this side, but Chungu clears. And the young man again, deeply involved here. Jacob Ngulube being pushed to Luka Lungu. She too wide now to Benson Sakala. Beats his marker. Otawalia dropping to help out. Oh, slices the ball and Muntali goes up. Now it's just up and down there. chest control. Is it a pass? Goalkeeper comes and collects. So Kennedy Mudenda heavily involved and pushes. Eventually manages to push the ball away. And like now, it's Luka Lungu, the substitute, taking it easy, spreads it wide again. Bats on Daka, but good cover there from Joseph Musonda. They quickly restart with Chungu now. The elder of the two Chungu brothers. Walter blocked, and Kashitu is adjudged to have stepped in front of Walter Walia.
Victor Kashitu realizing the danger that Walter Walia does actually present to this Power Dynamo side. I think it's very dangerous for both teams to almost be second-guessing what they're doing, because the goal can come.
Jacob Gulu again heads inside into the 18 area. They let the ball bounce. Franciscus on the good cover there, as lets Alan Chiwe come out. Alan Chiwe on a couple of occasions had made some bad judgments in that Power goal. Chishimba uses Kennedy Mudenda was changed flanks again. Joseph Musonda uses his left boot to clear. Benson Sakala passes it to Shadrach Musonda, and there's a mistake on that occasion, but failing to capitalize there, Fred Shimenge.
Walter Walia looking to anticipate movement from Fred Shimenge, and of course these two, having played for one team before joining Nkana, do have that telepathical kind of communication sometimes.
But do you think that the two sides, probably the coaches will be happy with the draw?
Well, considering the fact that if it goes any other way, they lose 3 points. A draw is something they would accept. It's been a well-balanced game, I think. The only downside to it is that the first half did not see any tactical application or the philosophy of the coaches being put together. Trump card is being pushed in. Last substitution from Anderson. It looks like us the man coming through. That is Julius Tumbeko. And of course, Kennedy Mudenda will make way for Julius Tumbeko. He scored a goal in the 40th minute, Mudenda, but like I said, he keeps on fizzling off. And it all came from that great pass, and he just connected with it perfectly. Frederick Mwansa, obviously, not realizing what hit him there.
Mudenda's goal in the 41st minute comes up now and allows for Julius Tumbeko to come in. Julius Tumbeko, again, very much a winger, so like for like from Power Dynamo's Anderson Piri. Julius Tumbeko can be very, very difficult to contain. So many tricks up his sleeve. Cross from Kelvin Mubanga, headed away by Christopher Muntali.
Well, Muntali will not feel so bad about the fact that he had to spend close to 90 days of no action, owing to the fact that he had a transfer, obviously, that was very dubious.
Kelvin Mubanga badly done that, and it's easily cleared by Danashano Malama, the captain from Nkana. It's going to be a long one. This from Kelvin Mubanga. Knows this pitch very, very well. Harms goalkeeper should collect that easy picking.
His Excellency Edgar Chagwalungu obviously watching a derby, and well, he's just amongst the fans. I wonder what he thinks of this game.
I think he's fairly enjoyed it. He seems to be concentrating very much on the game. You can tell he's a soccer fan through and through. And he has been to almost all the games that the national team has played. So, and half the time when he does mention, except for once maybe when he does give a sign of the scoreline, he's just about close to it, and Zambia just about comes up trump. So a bit of a good mascot for the national team.
Well, obviously, him being a patron, it's always good to have your head of state support local football, and in particular this derby here, which is arguably the biggest in the country. The biggest striker for Nkana is on the ground, and he's crying foul because this injury did not really fall down well with him. Walter Walia, scorer of 7 goals so far this season.
3 minutes of added on time here. And this derby that has lived to his expectations, though, and no, both sides failing to just take advantage and just win this one here, but especially for Nkana against the home side. Shadrack Musonda now, the substitute, and does a good job being pursued heavily and being pushed in the process. So says the referee by Victor Kashitu.
The hands being used once again. Football is a contact sport, but it's nothing close to sumo wrestling, so you need to actually just try to use more of tactic than pulling.
Joseph Musonda is going to throw it right in that 18. The goalkeeper comes out. It doesn't look very convincing, the goalkeeper. On that occasion, though, he wants to start it very quickly, but is being pursued, is being just impeded.
Freddie Chimenga making sure that Alan Chiwe doesn't look to help his team hit Nkana on a counter.
Danashana Malama clears. And now we just pack the ball forward now because really no need for easy passing. Nicely done by Jacob. Goalkeeper comes against his own defender there, but at least he did get his fist to the ball. Now Kelvin Mubanga, they'll need to keep an eye on him. Danashana Malama comes to mark him. Danashano just falls in front of him and he stretches a foot, Danashano, and he's on a yellow already, remember, so very lucky there for Danashano Malama.
Well, Nkana, the last time they played here, did actually pick up a red card. It was given to their goalkeeper, Scott Ngokeni. But, well, talking about goalkeepers, the Power Dynamos goalkeeper, Alan Chiwe, who conceded a goal in the second half, and obviously it was scored by Jacob Nguluwe in the 63rd minute. He's obviously complaining because of the contact that was there from that Joseph Musonda pass. He comes out to actually punch the ball, but there's contact with his own player, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why we need the pen. We Italian pen ya bora France tikambe pano panja. Simu ni mkati. Ufuna kuzokamba 9. Eh, kamba na now. Hey, not a ben voice out. Hey.
So White Wanabamba there. So then the goalkeeper came out, collided with his own player, and that's how come the game has halted. So that 3 minutes will definitely have another couple of minutes added on as there's excellency there. Republican President Edgar Chagwa Lungu in the cap right in the center there. Leans back now after stoppage in the game. But Alan Chiwe is good to go. So now it's going to be a drop ball scenario here because the referee stopped the ball while for that injury, not when the injury happened. I think it was a situation where he did not see that the player was down, stopped the ball, so then it's 50-50, but it's in the 18 there. So Nkana an opportunity, but looks like Walter Walia again just to have pushed or leaned it to his player. In fact, he was offside. So what now is the question. Alan Chiwe is on the ground yet again.
I think he realizes that, you know, a lot of pressure is coming his way. But this is how everything happened. The pass being put through. Kennedy Mudenda in the 40th minute scores that goal. 41st minute, actually, he scores that goal. And the celebration is that of crying, almost feeling pity for Nkana. Well, not for long, because that goal came through from Nguluwe. And Jacob Nguluwe scoring a beautiful header off a free kick from Shadrack Msonda. Just a minute before that, Innocent, you were talking about how they should use their head, they should do a Porchella. Clearly they had.
Well, yeah, on that occasion I was using the surround system of this so highly sophisticated nkana stadium. And Jacob Guluve obliged. So the goalkeeper, Alan Chiwe, looks like having recovered, did seemingly not recover that much, or else maybe there was yet. This is what happened. That collision is really what sent him to the ground again. So as long as it's a goalkeeper, remember, the game cannot resume. He needs to be either he's substituted or he is worked on, but they will wait till the medics make that decision. So the game, which had only 3 minutes of added on time, looks like we'll have a lot of time added on, actually.
I guess the goalkeepers will always love that, all the greats in the world have always loved the fact that, they're the only people that can stop play. If I'm injured or if I'm down, play will stop. Takes me back to the old days when, goalkeepers would not be booked for stoppage time. And they would always just, pass the ball amongst each other with defenders. You hold the ball. I think the game has really changed over the years.
Well, certainly now you can't pass the ball back to the goalkeeper using your feet. It has to be using your head, or inadvertently so. But as long as it's deliberate, you cannot hold it. But still, other than the referee, who we always say is the most important man on the pitch, and the goalkeeper is injured, the game halts one way or the other. Chungu, Lukalungu, turns his marker. It's being swarmed here. It's Menge doing well to just come back to help. Chungu again to Kelvin Mubanga. Keeping the ball in their half. Lukalungu will try and cross this, but it's got Chungu for company. Chungu now. Power Dynamos Chungu, getting a bit confusing. Well, interesting how the game has come to a close, even after there was that hold up due to the goalkeeper. But looks like eventually it does come to pass that the local derby, the El Copala, comes to an end there, and it is one apiece here. Shadrack Msonda came in to great effect, and this is what led to that scoreline. Msonda completely caught off. Cross comes in. Kennedy Mudenda does not hesitate to just cross that. You see where Msonda was, the time he was off, it was very easy for Simwala to just bring in the cross, and Mudenda just saw where Shadrack Mwansa was and quickly just put that one in to make it 1-0. Then that cross came in. Jacob Guluve, brilliantly done. He was falling all the time, but still managed to control that ball and just redirect it in the corner there, and there was no chance for goalkeeper Alan Chiwe on that occasion, and it was one apiece. Jacob Guluve, former Mighty Premanda's youngster, making one man to the excitement of Zedi Saileti on that occasion. So then, Nkana Football Club 1, Power Dynamos 1.
And so the Kitwe Derby has failed to produce a winner as the two teams share the spoils. It has ended in Nkana Football Club 1 and Power Dynamos 1. Now joining me on pitch side is Jacob Ngulube, the goal scorer for Nkana Football Club. And Jacob, congratulations for you coming out of man of the match. Just tell us, share with us your thoughts about this afternoon's game.
It was a tough game. Yeah, I thank God for what he has done for the team.
Let's talk about the goal. I mean, you were 1-0 down at some point. Just what was going through your mind when you were connecting that cross that came through?
I knew that I'm going to score that game. That goal. Yeah.
Congratulations and all the best. Make sure you go watch, Go TV, Bola Pazed, and all the interesting football in the world of champions on Go TV.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, that was our man of the match, Jacob Ngulume. Obviously, very happy for having to get, that goal that has seen, the two teams share their spoils 1-0. But remember, tomorrow we've got the exciting games lined up on the world of champions because it's a double-header at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium. And first up, it is Forest Rangers who will be at home. Fole Malembe, they come up against Mpakali Tulike, Mfuria Blackpool, and later on, Zegama Mbozesko United up against Lusaka Tigers Tanaka. And of course, on behalf of everyone involved in this production, my name is Matimba Nkonze. We say ciao. We'll join you tomorrow on the World of Champions from Undola.